Meeting with history, social redemption, expectations, opinions, here and now. Rio de Janeiro. Brazil is the 6th largest economy in the world. 80 million web users. Metropolitan area population of Rio de Janeiro is 12 million. In the last 10 years, 50 million people have moved from the lower class to the upper class. We meet some people who tell us about their life in this transformed reality. 6 episodes. Encounter and stories. Pavão-Pavãozinho-Cantagalo community. Sustaino Musica, music movement for global sustainability. The 2007 Nobel Peace Prize, Mohan Munasinga and its founding members. Cementa, the scene of musical quality. Samba Fit, my armor and salvation. Street Theatre, the great Brazilian company of mystery and novelty. Nobra Arte, a gym in the slum, the alternative to street life. The future is a great hope for the citizen. Always been a point of interest for the strong artistic culture, dance, music. Rio de Janeiro is also a city full of contradictions of wealth and poverty. Rio de Janeiro is the focus of the most important world events of the next 3 years.
A integração da comunidade Pavão-Pavãozinho-Cantagalo.
When talking about the Pavão-Pavãozinho and Cantagalo communities, they can be considered as just one, but with 2 different entities. Pavão-Pavãozinho, that represents one association, and Cantagalo, that represents another one. The association was born in the 60s, precisely during a troubled period with Lacerna's government that moved all the communities from the southern area to the northern and western areas of Rio de Janeiro.
Da zona sul para a zona norte e zona oeste do Rio de Janeiro.
We have been lucky because one of the members of that government was our neighbour, and he had a very good relationship with the community. He steered us to create an entity in order to sit around the table and discuss the evacuation issue with the government.
Criarmos uma entidade para que pudéssemos sentar à mesa e discutir com o governo a questão da remoção.
Therefore, it was in that period the entities and associations of citizens were created, that at that time were not called associations of citizens, but community centres, civil juridical organizations.
Uma organização civil, né, de cunho jurídico. E hoje eu estou muito preocupado em relação à comunidade, porque uma série de boatos.
Today I am very concerned about the community, because there are rumors that Vietnam and Caranguejo will be evacuated because the authorities say that they are dangerous areas. I contest it, we contest it, the community contests it. They are not dangerous areas. It is coming out that behind this, there is a big entrepreneur, undercovered by the authorities of our region and our city, of our town hall, who is financing the pacifying police unit of Rio de Janeiro, not only Pavão-Pavãozinho, but other communities too. He is the one who finances this thing because he wants to build hotels there. He wants to build a panoramic hotel in Vietnam and in Caranguejo. He wants to build panoramic restaurants. Our fight is due to the fact that unfortunately today we are not yet owners of the lands, but we have permanent right of their occupation of them. However, in the region, City Hall and Union lands, the right of occupation is not valid. In any case, it's our right, because we are here and we have the right of this space. It belongs to us, although not legally, because we do not have documents. But a politician warned us. His name is Leonel de Maura Brizola. Back from his banishment, his plan was not to evacuate the communities, but to urbanize them. We defended this cause with all our efforts, and we won. So Pavão-Pavãozinho has become the ideal favela in Rio de Janeiro, and they have acknowledged us, the propriety of it. We couldn't succeed in registering this by a notary, because at that time they were independent and nobody wanted to support Brizola's idea and register our property deeds. Cantagalo came later, so we have the property claim. Every family has a lot, but we couldn't go on, and that's why we are fighting. Ike Batista is a big entrepreneur who wants the touristic points of the community, but not only this, but the others too, like Tabajara, as we know, Vidigal, Santa Marta, and so on. Fight hard. We can't say no to him. He will build his hotel up there wherever he wants, mainly in Pavão-Pavãozinho instead of Caranguejo and Cantagalo. But if he is ashamed of our friends, our brothers, our relatives, our families who are living there, we fight to avoid their evacuation. If their houses are not decent to him, he is supposed to give them an appropriate house and make his hotel or restaurant up there. That's the fight. That's the way. Not to sound boastful, I'm part of the Commission for the Growth Acceleration Program works of the federal government, together with the state and City Hall government. But I think that in this situation, the community is not as together as it should be. I think that in this situation, the community is not as together and as solid as it should be. Anyway, we go on because this is the way, not to evacuate, but to reorganize the communities. Not to evacuate, but just to move. The people living in Vietnam should move lower, because here there is a lot of space to build. However, not to clear them out of here and send them to Cosme, as they're already doing now, like My Life, My Home programs do. We cannot accept it. We don't have to fight to mess everything up, but without destruction and with peaceful, honest claim, going out of politics and pointing to the social issue, where we will find who can help us. This is the way, this is the story. Carlos Dionisio's story, who is representing the social issue. Let's go on. We should appoint someone who can represent us in politics.
Carlos Dionísio, que é o social, e vamos embora, e a gente vai ter que fazer um representante nosso aqui na política.
My name is Carlos. My nicknames have been Chicoria, Polenta, Nonata, but today it is Vampetta. I belong to the community here and I like it very much. My father, Mr. Lau, had a name in the community. He was a close friend of Acaccio, who died, and I had a troubled girlfriend. I had a good life. The community is wonderful. Even if it is very criticized, it has a bad name. But only someone living here knows how it really is, if it's nice or not. As you're doing here today, you're here to see it. I had a troubled life. When I was 20, my father died in Arpador. He was killed for nothing. A Playboys gang were smoking joints, and Daddy didn't like that. After he died, I became a dealer. I've been a dealer for 8 or 9 years. Thank God I've never been caught. Thank God another good thing in my life is that I don't have any addictions. My only addiction is women. I can't resist a woman with wide hips. I like having a beer or a glass of wine with my friend Fumasa, but I don't take any drugs. Luckily, I have no addictions at all. We got used to living without my dad. My mom suffered a lot. People say that a black guy living in Moro is a thief and many other things. People who say that are liars. People who say that live on the lower side, Sul area. When we pass by, they call us thieves and many other things. It's not true. In fact, there's a rich man who wants to build elevators and restaurants up here. If it were so bad, he wouldn't invest his millions up here in Caranguejo. If it were so bad, people wouldn't come here like you and others who come and visit the community. For New Year's Eve, many gringos come here and take pictures to see the landscape. It's easy to criticize. On the contrary, I'd like to see authorities come here and do something. During the elections, there were many political posters here. About 30 parties came here and then did nothing. Now they do not come here. Nobody comes here anymore to speak, to walk, to plan something social, to do something for the kids. They just come for election days. Regarding the community, the guys are quite good here. I'm very proud to belong to this community in PPC. I'm really very proud of it, and I want to stay here until the end of my life. All together, today, tomorrow, and forever.
Valeu, rapaziada. Valeu. Aqui é o lugar que eu falhei.
Here is the place where I did wrong. Here many people died, sometimes even innocent people. This is one of the most needy parts of the community. Here people need help most. When there was dealing here, friends didn't think of going to funky parties. They helped as much as they could the people living in Moro, giving them rice, beans, money to pay gas. They helped any Moro inhabitant, the most needy ones. Improvements are coming, but slowly. It's getting better, very slowly. Here is where people who stepped out of line in drugs dealing were killed. We were ones in charge. We had to collect cash in debits. The boss used to give orders, and we had to do it. If someone stepped out of line, we made him pay his dues. Many people have been murdered here. Many have been thrown down, even still alive, without being shot before, just thrown down. It's an extremely high jump, and the impact is deadly. This is one of the first places where we killed people who stepped out of line in drug stealing, who killed, who did something wrong openly when we discovered a money loss.
Aqui nessa comunidade eu tô há 5 anos. No Tabajara eu fiquei há 10 anos. Entendeu? Então, juntando uma comunidade com a outra, são 15 anos.
I've been here in this community for 5 years. I've been in Tabajara for 10 years, so now it's 15 years. I can say that I know and understand perfectly what a community is. I moved my vote right here in order to vote and to be a beneficiary of all the improvements to the community, hoping for a better future for all of us. I don't have a family yet, but I want to have one soon and settle down like my friends did. They took root here in the community. I want to stay together with them, in this way for a better future and a better community. Today we call it community, but once we called it favela. Nobody knew it like a community. We called it moro, favela, favelando. Not anymore. Once we said Negro. Nowadays we say Afro-Brazilian, Afro-descendant.
Hoje em dia não. Era negro e não sei o que era. Não, hoje em dia é afro-brasileiro, né? Hoje em dia eles falam, né? Mudou. Afrodescendente. Afrodescendente, né? Hoje em dia, é uma comunidade. Você mora na comunidade? Moro, tenho muito orgulho.
When I'm asked if I live in the community, I say yes, I live in it, and I'm very proud of it, and I fight and dream. I wake up every day thinking of a better future for our community. I'm Paulo, and this is my story.
My name is Maio Pamplona. I'm a lutist, a classical guitar maker, and a contrabass player. I'm here in my workshop with my partner and friend Renato Oliveira. This is the house where the workshop is. I was born here. We're surrounded by Pavão-Pavãozinho-Cantagalo.
Pelo Pavão-Pavãozinho e pelo Cantagalo. Estamos numa situação.
This is a very particular area of Rio de Janeiro. It's a border zone between the developed urban side and the abandoned side ignored by the government for a long time. It's become a very important part of the city, which has grown through the occupation of lands that were built upon, resulting in the famous favela. The favela has grown up around my house.
E virou a famosa favela. E essa favela cresceu em volta da minha casa.
For my whole life, I've been living through a type of social conflict between those who live in the favela and those on the outside.
Conflito social entre a favela e as pessoas de fora da favela.
It's getting increasingly hard to distinguish between the two groups. Since I was born 30 years ago, things have changed a lot. There is less difference. That's the reality now. The favela is urbanizing, and my house remains here, right in the middle. We don't know how the borders will be defined yet. Big changes are going on.
E a casa está aqui no meio, ainda não sabemos como o entorno vai se definir, né? Então, grandes transformações estão acontecendo aqui nesse momento. É curioso fazer um violão porque a gente atualmente aqui está demorando 2 meses aproximadamente para concluir um instrumento. É muito tempo.
It's very interesting making a guitar. Nowadays, we take about 2 months to craft an instrument. It's a long time, a lot of hard work. There are many extremely precise steps, and after 2 months spent between wood and sawdust, a block of wood is transformed into something that can make a sound. A great musician, after a lifetime of study, will use it to make wonderful things. It's hugely satisfying for us, seeing an instrument that was once just a piece of wood, now turned into music. That's the real magic. The magic of the music after so much work, so much devotion, and so many headaches to achieve the perfect shape, to get to the right point. Then the musician will use it to create fantastic music. That's what's important, without a doubt.
Fantástica, então esse é o principal ponto, sem dúvida. Objetivos que a madeira impõe, que as colagens.
The challenge the wood represents for us, the whole concept, the whole mechanism of the guitar in all its details. Encountering these difficulties helps us to grow in all aspects of our life. It's a great daily lesson in life. Working with wood represents all the values of my world.
Rio de Janeiro é uma cidade fantástica. Eu sou de uma cidade.
Rio de Janeiro is a fantastic city. I come from a very mountainous city and region, Belo Horizonte, in Minas Gerais. It's a city where people have a very introspective culture. They spend a lot of time at home, a culture that shuts itself off a bit. When I came to Rio de Janeiro, a town with a lot of sea and sun, I understand that it's such a lively town that it makes you go out. It's very interesting to see how, here in Rio, the old people, the grandpas, go out in the street. They go in the main square to get a coffee. You see the people on the street. On the contrary, in my town, Belo Horizonte, it doesn't happen. The old people are always at home watching TV, or sometimes they meet each other to play cards. They have fun, but always indoors. Here in Rio de Janeiro, kids go and play football on the beaches, go surfing, or go biking around. Even when you're old, this town makes you leave your house and go out on the street, and this is fantastic, very nice. But on the other side, I miss many other aspects of my town. It is very introspective, and Rio isn't. Here, it's necessary to try harder to make relationships, to put more effort in building an intimacy. Otherwise, it seems that even if you go out, it's difficult to make a real connection. So you are getting more and more isolated, in the middle of the crowd, but alone. According to me, this is a very difficult aspect of Rio to live with. It's very difficult to live with violence, and with noise, with the traffic jams too. After all, it is a town where I'm establishing myself professionally, where a huge number of musicians work. I have the opportunity to call the most important musicians in Rio de Janeiro, who are also the best musicians of the country and the best musicians of the world. This is a huge metropolis. It's a big cluster of talented people.